All right, our Hangout on Air is live. It's the second one for the Unilever Young Sustainable Living Young Entrepreneurs Awards. If I could speak, it'd be helpful. But brought to you today by Unilever, Ashoka, and Cambridge. And we have a good panel today, all about the future of farming. So we're joined by Blessing Mene Oritz. He's one of last year's finalists, and he runs UNFIRE in Nigeria, low-cost poultry feed. We have Lucas Simmons. He is a Dutch social entrepreneur in the tech space, and we're joined also by Giles and Sachin from KisanHub, here to talk the future of farming, agriculture, and how young people can get involved. So to get started, do you just want to take over? Try to do a 30-second description of what you guys are working on. Maybe we start with you, Lucas. You're on the left of my screen here, and then we'll go to Blessing and the KisanHub. Yes.
Sure. Thank you very much for the introduction, and happy to be here. My name is Lucas Simmons. I'm Dutch, and I'm a social entrepreneur. 4 or 5 years ago, I started an organization called SCOPEinsight. We are trying to introduce a credit rating methodology to credit rate producer organizations, cooperative states, and assess their level of professionalism, their bankability. And that assessment does two important things. One is we have a good idea on their strengths and weaknesses, so we can link them to the better capacity builder, and so that they have they can improve themselves. There's continuous improvement. And the other thing is that we can create a profile or a passport, so to speak, collect all the data and link that to banks or to input providers or to anybody who wants to do business with a better farmer group. And in that case, these two combined, continuous improvement and market linkages to markets and finance and inputs, will eventually, hopefully, change the agricultural sector.
Thanks, Lucas. Blessing, over to you. Blessing, can you hear us? You want to give a just quick description of what you do with UNFIRE?
Nigeria, and deeply excited to be on this hangout.
Hey, Blessing, we're having some trouble hearing you. Maybe kill your video, and we may be able to hear you better.
Here,
Okay, go for it. Yeah.
can you hear me now?
Yep. Loud. Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. Go for it. All right. Well, let's try to go to KisanHub then. Sachin, Giles, do you want to pop in, and we'll try to go back to Blessing in a second.
Yes, sure. Giles and Sachin here from KisanHub. We are very excited to be part of this hangout. Both of us are technology entrepreneurs based here in Cambridge, and we are currently working on bringing in different data sets together on a cloud-based platform so that farmers can take better agronomic decisions. And very soon we'll have our mobile application and other services launched around it around September.
Great, and let's give this another shot then. Blessing, maybe kill your video feed, but do you want to tell us a little bit of what you do? Okay, having some troubles here. Well, maybe we should just dive into questions, and hopefully Mene can provide some of his insights as his internet connection improves or gets sorted out. Paul West, the co-director of the Institute on the Environment's Global Landscapes initiative, recently came out and said that sustainably feeding people today and in the future is one of humanity's greatest challenges. Agriculture is the main source of water use, greenhouse gas emissions, habitat loss, and there's also a need to grow more food. I think some estimate that food production has to go up by as much as 60% to feed the projected population. I know that both the KisanHub crew and Lucas, in the work you do, you focus a lot on technology with its sort of purpose and as a tool in agriculture. Do you guys want to just talk about a little bit how technology is being used to transform the agriculture sector?
Sure. Giles and I'll start here first. So, as you rightly said, John, there are certainly three main challenges in front of a whole global agriculture community. First is really the challenges posed. Answer the questions and challenges posed by the climate change. Second is ensuring food security, and third is mitigating the effects of climate change. And we think the digital technology, especially the ICT tools, are going to be immensely helpful at the farmer level to answer those challenges. And I think on that side, we are currently solving some of the challenges and farmers so that they can take better decisions and at the same time make farming sustainable as well as climate smart.
Yes, John, from my side, you're absolutely right. Agriculture is the challenge of our generation. We have to 60, 70, 80, or some people even talk about 100% increased food production. So I read the other day that more food needs to be produced in the next 40 years than the last 6,000 years combined. And so that's a huge challenge. And like you said, it's already the biggest driver for poverty, for environmental degradation, deforestation, water use, chemical use. It's quite a big challenge, and we have 40 years to get it right, and I don't think we'll get a second chance. So the question is how to get it right. And like you said, technology is one of the main parts of the solution. It's not everything, but it enables other interventions and other solutions, and so we can try out different things than we have done in the past, because that clearly didn't work. Just normal developing aid, training farmers, building schools, it just was not the solution. We still have main pockets of poverty and environmental degradation. So new technologies enable us to do quite a few things. We can reach out to areas which we couldn't reach before. We can have a dialogue with these people, sending them messages, but they can also reply back. Mobile financing. We know who they are. We know what their needs are. We can identify how good they are. We can link them to markets. We can lower costs. I think it's quite crucial that that technology is part of the solution.
Sure, yeah, and it sounds like technology can go a long way to making farming, more efficient. There are reports that targeted efforts to make the systems more efficient can actually help meet the need, with the sort of farmland we already have. So more efficient farming techniques would lead to better yields, and then we could actually end up doing all right. And maybe that's the good news to some of your warnings there, Lucas. But I think I heard both of you, both the KisanHub and Lucas, talk about sustainability in agriculture, and sustainability is used to describe many different things. When you say sustainability in farming or agriculture, what exactly do you mean? Is it just cutting water use? Is it conserving the land that you grow food on? How do you sort of define sustainability in your work?
Yeah,
I think. Sorry.
Yeah. Thank you. We should find a formula on who to speak first. So let me go first now and then give you the floor. I think that the traditional, my background is certification. I think I mentioned it before. I used to run UTZ Certified. It's the largest sustainable label for sustainable coffee and tea, and well, not tea, but coffee and cocoa at least. And I think that's a little bit of a traditional or old-fashioned way of looking at sustainability. It's environmental or social sustainability. I think we should first and foremost look at agriculture as a business. We can certify it, we can help make sure that the children go to school, but in the end of the day, if they're still poor, if they're not able to make a living income, if they're still defaulting, if they still go bankrupt, then what are we doing it for? So I would argue, I would suggest that just like any other sector, agriculture is a business, and we should see it as a business, and that means that we need entrepreneurial farmers, young farmers most of the time, going to the topic of today, entrepreneurial farmers indeed who can run their farm as a business, which means increased productivity, but also efficient inputs, and it also means that if you see it as a business, that it is absolutely vital that they have access to inputs, access to finance, access to services, and we often forget that they are run in an enabling environment, and this gives a huge responsibility to local governments, who, frankly, in many cases, just leave the sector to their fate or tax it. And it also means, and I think that's the tricky part where nobody wants to talk about, is that what do we do with all the farmers who are not entrepreneurial? Because if not everybody is an entrepreneur, and that the same is true for farmers. So what do you, if you want to have a sector that is run as a business, that means that many farmers who are not entrepreneurial should diversify their income. That means that perhaps they should work on other people's farm rather than own a farm, or they should find alternative livelihoods. For me, this is my definition of a sustainable sector: modern, efficient, run as a business, and very much sustainable.
Yeah, that's really well said. I think Giles and Sachin, here's your time to sort of take over.
To be honest, I couldn't agree more with what Lucas has said. I think, as Sachin and I know, both come from agriculture backgrounds, farmers are some of the most savvy business people you ever meet. And if you're ever going to try and make farming more sustainable, you have to link everything you do to, at the end of the day, your bottom line, your profit. So we believe at KisanHub that you're able to drive, become more sustainable through reducing your inputs you put on the farm. So that may be reducing your fertilizer usage, your water usage, reducing the amount of time you spend in the field through your tractor, or any other farm machinery you may use. So I think this is where you're going to create the greatest benefit for the society as a whole. So maybe through the use of technology, and definitely through the use of young, more entrepreneurial minded people, they can start to use these technologies, which are starting to become more apparent in the world, and really try and reduce that social, and make their farms more sustainable, to make the world more sustainable.
Yeah, and let's talk about young people farming. In many cases, the average age of farmers continues to go up. In the United States, it's near 60, and these already established farmers own more than 55% of the land, I believe. How hard does that make it for young farmers to get involved and sort of see farming, not just as a potential career path, but something that they can do for the rest of their lives? Does technology make it more accessible for many people, especially young people who seem to be, they're described as digital natives? Millennials in many cases are seen as sort of interconnected, out of the womb to technology. Does that sort of break down some of the barriers, especially when it comes to information? A lot of young farmers today, say that they got into farming because it feels like it's something that can be enriching and make them feel like they have some purpose, but they don't really know what they're getting into. They don't know about even some of the basics. So you guys both see technology as a great way to sort of lower the barriers and help young people get involved? And does even Farmville give some inspiration?
I think technology is going to assist in helping young people get into farming, but something that Sachin and I have spoken about a bit is it's very difficult for young farmers to get into agriculture due to the large capital costs and outlay which is involved in farming nowadays, especially in the more developed countries. Be it land prices are rising at huge rates, farm machinery is very expensive, fertilizers, seeds, and etc. So technology is definitely going to be a tool to try and bring younger people into farming, but I also think education is very important. I think we've got to try and push agriculture more as a real choice for young people when they finish school and thinking about going to agricultural colleges or universities. At the moment, younger people tend not to feel that agriculture is a possibility due to their parents not being involved in agriculture, and thus they go to other industries. I think if you start at educational level and show it's a viable thing to get involved with, and through technology this can assist them. So that's my thoughts, but I think Sachin has some thoughts also. I think I completely agree with you, Giles. I think bringing younger generation, maybe leaving after school or after making them, kind of aware of what are the different options available, and making them know that agriculture is an attractive career choice is extremely important. While as technology is going to play increasingly that role through providing that little training courses or information material. But really, I think the local efforts on the ground are going to be important to draw younger generation into the business. And obviously, we still need to answer that question in terms of how do you make initial capital available for someone who is completely new to farming.
Well, that's I completely can only echo what is being said, and also your problem statement. We work a lot in the cocoa sector, and there you see the danger of growing farmers growing older. The average the average age of farmers there is somewhere around 55. The average lifespan is 65, and therefore it is calculated that in the next 7 years we'll be losing 50 to 70% of all the cocoa farmers in West Africa, at least. And there's hardly a child who wants to become a cocoa farmer. This is perhaps the biggest threat to chocolate, to the chocolate industry that we have. And so in order to change that is, yes, we need education. Yes, we need to see it as a business. We need to prove the business case. But first and foremost, we need to change the perception of what it means to be a farmer. It should be a proud profession. You should be proud to be a farmer because you're in the real economy. You're producing something that everybody needs. It should be cool. It should be sexy. And then, of course, you should be able to make a good living out of it. And that not only means that you need to see farming as a business, but you should also make sure that farmers are able to live in thriving communities so that they want to live there. They want to live in the rural areas, and that they can send their kids to school and they can take care of their families. And so if we consider farmers as humans, then the answer is that we need to do what every human wants, and that is they want to do something that they're proud of, that they want to do, they feel that they contribute, and make it attractive. And technology, definitely, mobile phone technology, all kinds of apps, makes it more sexy, attracts also by itself, I would say, the more entrepreneurial next generation. So technology is one, not the, but one of the key drivers of doing this. But in general, farming needs to be cool, needs to be proud, and I think then we are able to solve it.
Great, yeah, I would say that I think most farmers, are proud people, and this has been true for a really long time. I think, some of the things that maybe take away cool points from farming and agriculture, are the sort of tough margins. And obviously, as climate change continues to be a growing issue, and droughts happen, flooding. I think some of those issues, may make it tough for people to sort of live successfully in the farming life. It looks like we've also been joined by Manisha, Dhatrak, and I think Blessing has been hanging out in the background. How are you two? And can you guys jump on here and contribute a little bit? Manisha, do you want to just tell us briefly what you do now that you finally connected?
Yeah. I'm connected. Okay. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Yeah, hi. Hi, Mene. You can get my voice, correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear you.
Yeah.
A good 30-second
Yeah.
description of what you do at Varun
Okay.
Agro would be helpful for
Yeah.
the viewers.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi. Yeah. Tell me, please. Yeah. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead. 30 seconds on what you do.
Yeah. 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 Hello. I'm Manisha. Can I speak?
Yes, please do. Please do.
Yeah. Hello. I'm Manisha, the managing director of Varun Agro, and I'm doing the tomato paste, a different type of fruit pulp and paste. Mainly, more quantity I'm doing in a tomato, and all tomato whatever I'm procuring, that is from my contract farming farmer. Near about 1600 farmers in my contracting, and 2000 acre, from 2000 acre, near about 30,000 metric ton tomato I'm procuring for my contracted farmers, and all work I'm doing in sustainable manners. So there is a little many things which I'm doing, which I'm working with all farmers, and I'm giving them agronomic practices. And my team is continuously visiting to farms, fields, and continuously. Uh, can you hear me correctly?
Yeah, what's interesting,
Hello.
you know, I think Manisha is actually a good example of what we were discussing about people getting into
Hello.
farming. Manisha was trained as an electrical engineer. Is that right, Manisha? And one day you decided that farming was your
Hello.
real.
Hello.
Hey, Manisha.
Hello, John.
Hey. Hey, we can hear you. I was explaining that my understanding is that you were trained as an electrical engineer who sort of found her calling in farming. Is that correct?
Hello, John.
Yes. Okay. Well, she got disconnected. Blessing, are you around? All right. We'll move on for the time being. One of the things, Lucas, you said that was pretty interesting, was about making farming cool. And I guess, you know, technology is one part of that. But how do you make farming cool? Is it, you know, growing in urban spaces? Is it growing inside? And do you have any indication about how tomorrow's farmers and producers will grow food differently?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and I don't think anybody has really the answer because we're still facing this problem. But I'm sorry, there's a lot of background noise on the line. Good.
Yeah, I'm trying to take care of it.
All right, thank you. That's much better. So I think there are several levels of answers. One is the macro force, the macro level, is that as long as we are in a sort of food, it must be cheap kind of modus, and the whole markets are designed to go for the lowest price, and that will create eventually whole economies of poverty, and that's what we see on the other side of the ocean mainly, but also in the Western economies, and hence in our economies, the agricultural sector survives on subsidies, but the major driving force is we're not rewarding quality, we are rewarding, I don't care where it comes from or how it is produced as long as it's cheap. And that is, I think, the major force that we need to start changing. Once that is happening, if markets can start reward quality, then it becomes fun again. Now you have a competitive sector that can start to compete on quality or varieties or taste or being different or sustainable or whatever. So the biggest thing is we need to get rid of the cheap food policy mindset. And then So that's more on a macro level. On a if that is
Hello.
if
Hello.
I'm sorry.
Hi, Manisha. Just hold on a second, please.
Hello.
So when that happens, we can also introduce new technologies, and and then there are all kinds of fun and cool stuff going on. We have urban farming, vertical farming, food cubes. We have growing it on the rooftops. We have the slow food movement. It's about, well, if as long as people start to appreciate food and the quality of food and also the story behind food, I think that's when farming becomes cool again. Everybody loves the story about a good chateau because there's a story behind a good bottle of wine. How many times do we tell the story about a good steak or a good vegetable or whatever? We just don't care, and as long as that happens, I think we're in trouble.
Yeah, to further on from Lucas's point, I think it comes down to, again, traceability of food. I think that's where Lucas is going. Is once you start to make food and the growing process cool again, perhaps that's the consumers are more interested about where that food has come from. So how can we, using IT and using more young entrepreneurs coming into farming, how can we create that traceability? So in the UK especially, we had the horse meat scandal with horse meat being found in produce in the supermarket. And that then came back to the traceability. How could the consumer trace where that had come from? And that's something that we're quite interested at KisanHub to do, is trying to trace back from what field was that was the carrots, for example, produced in, and what was used on those carrots. And that kind of creates a higher value to what the farmers are doing. So then can potentially push that price onto the consumers because they're getting higher value also.
And I think carrying on what Giles said, it is really important as an industry to let consumers know how much effort's going to farming. I mean, it's not an easy job. Farmers are operating an extremely complex ecosystem, and while everyone is looking for cheaper food, there is kind of this bottom line where if you want good farmers to stay in the industry, there has to be the produce has to be reasonably priced. Which means a farmer gets a little bit of profit, and at the same time food is affordable to general consumers.
Yeah, it sounds very much like this relates to the movement about growing food locally, and it does seem, at least my indication is that people are willing to sort of pay a premium for food that they know where it comes from, especially if it's grown locally. Is that really sort of a solution when it comes to the future of farming and food production? Do you guys see this like local growing as something that actually works when we talk about sustainability, or is it basically more greenwashing?
It's certainly not. I don't think there's one answer. We cannot grow all the food that we need on our rooftops, although urban farming could be a solution in parts of the globe.
Yeah, it does seem underused.
Sorry?
It does seem like an underused technique.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. And we're just at the beginning of that. No. So it's growing more locally, but growing it more modern and rewarding quality and more efficient, more sustainable, more traceable is that's more than just doing it locally. I think Manisha was trying to get in for a while now.
Sure. Let's try to give her a little airtime. Manisha, what are your thoughts?
John?
I mean, yeah, you're a farmer. You run a crew that sort of sells product internationally.
Hello.
Yes. Hey, Manisha, we can hear you. Just whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, Manisha, we can hear you. Manisha. Okay, well, this actually leads me into another thing we should probably discuss. Yes, Manisha, go ahead, please.
I'm not sure if she can hear you.
No, I don't think she can. And now she's gone. So or with all these tech interruptions, how hard is it to get both new and old farmers to adopt technology in their work? How hard is it to convince, say, farmers to use an app that tells them, what seed they ought to be, growing or purchasing? I think the KisanHub guys might have some good takes on this, and obviously you do too, Lucas. Is it hard to get farmers to adopt technology and use it in their day-to-day stuff? Even sitting down at the computer and trying to get the right information. How big of a challenge is that? And is it tougher to maybe have technology reach women in places like India? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's a very tough challenge indeed. At KisanHub, we never prescribe what farmers should do with technology. It's always there to assist what they're already doing, and we think that's very important. Farmers know more about their land and know more about what they're growing than anybody else or any computer system will ever be able to tell them. I think through the use of IT, it's always about just assisting and helping them make those better decisions. So as we live in Cambridge, I have a farmer who lives next door to me, and he's told me many a time, he said, you can give me the best technology solution in the world, that will save me X amounts of money, but I know that I'm never going to use it. So there are those barriers, but I think this is where younger farmers will come in. They've been around technology all their lives, so I think there'll be easier take up there. But then obviously, with new technology, it requires some infrastructure to be built, and in countries such as India, where we have a bit of interest through KisanHub, we've seen that the infrastructure is not always there to bring these nice, flashy new systems. So I think the delivery models are also very important. So that's where smartphone, Android, and iOS apps will come into their own.
Yeah.
So is how do you train a farmer, or how do you have him adopt new technology? It's true that there are a large groups of farmers who know everything they need to know on how to grow good crops. At the same time, many sectors we have to deal with illiterate farmers. For example, again, the example of the cocoa sector, the introduction of fertilizer. Many see fertilizer as medicine for sick plants, rather than something that you do to maintain certain soil fertility. Many see pruning of plants as something that don't cut my tree, while actually the pruning of the tree is maintaining the productivity. And so there's a lot of old knowledge, traditional knowledge, not everywhere, but in certain sectors, and that has to do with that for in many cases, agriculture is the profession of choice for those people who have no alternative, and so they're not educated, they don't know how to read and write, they have done it always like this. There's no innovation. We don't care, frankly, because it's available and it's cheap. So why is this a problem? And so it's again not everywhere, and certainly in the West is different, but in many regions in the developing countries we are dealing with really traditional old-fashioned ways of farming, and it is extremely difficult to introduce better practices. And we're trying to introduce standards, 35 pages of new technologies and new methodologies, and it's like trying to bring university degree to somebody who is not even able to read or write. We're trying to do it with simple things, and in some cases we have success. In many cases, as soon as you turn your back, they fall back to their old ways of doing it. I don't think we are able to solve it anytime soon, and it can only be solved if we attract, again, I'm coming back and I know I repeat myself, we need to attract a new generation of farmers, people who are educated, who are entrepreneurial, who see it as a challenge, who are proud of doing it, and understand that technology is there to help them as part of their business, rather than something alien and something that only donors want. It's a mindset.
Yeah, it was sort of funny to then hear Giles explain that his farming neighbor, even though he knew that technology would help and would help him get better yields and make more money, he said that he would never use it. It does seem a little weird and perhaps ironic. But I think there is a huge opportunity. I believe that the UN Food and Agriculture Organization said that initiatives to try to get farming back on track and get farmers working again should focus on China, India, as well as the United States, Brazil, Indonesia, Pakistan, and Europe. Blessing, it looks like we have you back on the line, and we haven't heard from you. I'm not sure what you've caught from the conversation so far, but we'd love to hear you. So I believe you're unmuted. So whenever you're ready, why don't you jump in?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, please
Hello?
go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Oh,
Yes, yes.
okay. I think. Okay. I think some of the very important points I wanted to bring up in the conversation that has to do with that so one of the I think young people becoming new farmers is extremely very important, and I also feel that allocating distribution needs to young people to tackle, I think that's too much of a big problem for them, because sometimes distribution really has to do with government policies, and then big businesses sometimes have a way, like in Nigeria, some people when maize is produced, some people buy them, store them, and create some form of scarcity, and then the food doesn't get to the people who need them the most. So I actually feel that those are things that the government and big businesses can better handle, and that young people should, focus more on starting their own business and like Lucas said, they must handle farming as a business, as a viable company, and not just farming, And I think the second point I wanted to raise up was the issue of motivation. Why are young people going into farming now? I actually don't think they're going to farming because they're trying to get a good job or because they are trying to run away from the corporate world. I think for most young people, especially in Africa, they go into farming because it creates a form of meaningful economic engagement. So instead of like running about looking for a job or something, farming provides a direct route to get into the corporate world for them. And then it's not just growing chickens, or they are growing corn, or they're growing vegetables. But what happens is that they are running their own business, and they feel like they have some form of significance, and they are making meaning out of their lives, and they're also making money they can use to take care of their family. So I think that's the biggest motivation for young people who go into farming, meaningful economic engagement. Yeah.
And is that why you got into farming in the first place, Blessing? Was it that sort of purpose that you were looking for?
Hello?
Yeah,
Hello.
Blessing, was that sense of purpose the reason that you got into farming?
Yes. Yeah, for me, yeah, so personally for me, that sense of purpose, of doing something, that makes a difference, of doing something that, can affect the economy, of doing something that will affect my community, that ultimate sense of purpose was what made me to go into farming. And then the second good thing about that was that I can be achieving my purpose, and at the same time, I'm getting paid, I'm making money doing that. So I can't get that in the corporate world. And that for me creates meaningful economic engagement, and that's a huge motivation for me and for most young people who I've spoken with who are into farming. That is also what gets them into farming, because farming is not kind of like an activity that most people want to go into, because people look down on farmers, especially in Nigeria. Once you're a farmer, people kind of look at you like you're at the bottom of the pyramid. You're not an important person. So for most of us who decide to go into farming, we decide to take a different approach. Handle it, number one, as a business. Handle it as something that is innovative, that we can be proud of, and something that is really impacting the lives of people. So that has been a huge motivation for myself and for most young people who are trying to go into farming. The pride of farming has to be there, and the fact that the agricultural activity is also generating some form of economic gains also has to be there. Yeah.
Great. Thanks so much for that. That was really helpful. We have a few minutes left. I would like to sort of shift into. We have a few minutes left. I would like to sort of shift into
Yeah, hello, John. Hello, John.
Yeah, we can hear you, Manisha. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Varun. Yeah. I'm Varun Agro. I'm doing the work for sustainable. How the sustainable? I'm doing the contract farming with near about 2,000 farmers, 1,600 farmers, 2,000 acres. So what the work I'm doing with
Hey,
farmers?
Manisha, we're getting a bit of an echo.
Yeah, how the farmer getting benefits. So when I'm giving the inputs to the farmers, I'm giving the inputs to the farmers, and near about uh, 50,000 rupees is per acre required to the farmers for farming. And what I'm giving the inputs, good agriculture practices, lot of things to them. And after that, they are giving me the 100% output and on the perfect, on the final rating. Whatever costing I'm finalizing with them, that rate is near about 4 to 5. So they are getting a good benefit. And both they're living due to that benefit. My farmer is getting a good living things. Their standard of living also increase, and now they are happy to work with me.
Great. Thank you, Manisha. We have a few minutes left here. I wanted to talk a little bit about government programs and initiatives to help young farmers take that next step. So I wanted to ask the panel, what are they already doing effective, and what can they be doing more? I know there are programs like the USDA's Beginning Farmer and Rancher Development Program, and that makes millions of dollars available to train, educate, and improve the, I guess, quote-unquote sustainability of farmers both today and tomorrow. Panel, are there better, more cost-effective programs? In an ideal world, what would governments and business do better to make farming more sustainable and more productive in the future?
Yeah, whatever product farmer is farming, that product I'm taking, I'm making the product tomato paste, and I'm giving that paste to the Unilever. And in that all program, PPP is the government farming product. PPP means public-private partnership. Government is partner with me. Government is giving the 50% subsidy on the inputs. So near about 15,000 rupees per acre subsidy is given by government, and that all subsidy when I'm giving when the farmer giving me the tomato fruit, that time I'm giving them the per acre 15,000 rupees to the farmers. So this subsidy as a government, the government is giving to the inputs to farmers directly, which farmer is contracted with me. So this two, three things which I am giving to the farmer. So farmer is really happy, and their living is increase. Means their in living their improvement is appear. I am looking also. A lot of people is coming at me, and they are looking at the farmers. Yes, if I'm giving the one benefit to the one farmer, means automatically their family getting the benefits. So if 1,600 farmer is in my contact farming, so it's 70,000 person means family, they are getting a good benefit from this. So now the farmer is telling me this year they are giving the good school to their children also. Means they are living things automatically in the children also, in their family also, the improvement in the all things.
Great. Lucas, Sachin, Giles, would love to get your take. We haven't heard from you three in a little bit.
Sure. I think definitely government can play a major role here. And I heard of USDA scheme to draw in young farmers. I think we have quite a few things going on in the UK in terms of supporting the research institutes and fostering the startup companies within agri-tech space and in general agriculture space. I think the initiative has to be like multi-pronged, and I think one of the strategy has to be education, building awareness, building skills, and drawing in younger generation in the agriculture. And really kind of we need to kind of take away that stigma or image of agriculture where So, I mean, as Lucas said, we want to make the industry sexy. We want to make the industry as go-to or a career choice for younger generation. That's first thing, and that can be done through media, through training, through skills building, and so on. And then other thing is really kind of fostering research, building new technologies which are cheaper, which are sustainable, and the best agronomic practices could be shared across different countries, both developed and developing countries. So those are my kind of thoughts on that.
Yeah, fantastic. Building on that, something that has not been mentioned before. First and foremost, if you have found young people who want to become a farmer, give them land. Give them a land that they can start a business on, not on 1 acre, but give them a larger plot of land, and then give them access to inputs and seeds and the better technologies, so can actually start a business. Yeah, what every young people like is a sort of competitive drive, organize battles. Who's the best farmer? Give prizes, give recognition, give them mobile phones. It's not about subsidizing or giving everything, but it's about creating a different setting for the young farmers. And then in the same time, education, definitely, not just primary education, but also give them access to on more advanced agricultural technologies and practices. And so there's a lot of things that you can do just by giving it attention and giving it making it special. I think you can attract already a younger generation farmer. Having said that, if you don't change the bigger system, it will be a matter of time before these younger people will grow old again, and before you know it, they're in the same position as their parents were. So it's micro combined with macro. It's short-term combined with long-term strategy. But it is very encouraging that attracting young farmers has such a now has the global attention. Everybody's thinking about it. Everybody realizes that if we don't solve this one, our sectors are literally dying. And so this is encouraging.
Yeah.
I guess just to wrap up here, we only have a couple of minutes left.
Yeah.
I'd like to just hear from the panel really quick. If you could tell young aspiring farmers out there one thing that they have to know before they get into this business, what would it be? Is it simply treat this like a business? What would your advice be to young farmers and future producers?
Yeah.
I think.
Sorry.
Wait for a minute.
Yeah, we'll get back to you, Giles and Sachin. Manisha, just real quick, what's your advice to young farmers?
Yeah. In my area, the encourage of means people don't know which hybrids they have to put in farms and which pesticides give the perfectly. Before that, they are doing the traditional farming only. I given the encourage on hybrid, which hybrid they have to put in a sustainable manner. So after that hybrid, they are getting the good yield. Means young people, when the young people is coming in our group, so we can tell them change the traditional farming, give these hybrids, give this pesticide. So after that they can getting a good yield. So after getting good yield, definitely the money will come in their pockets. So after all points is remaining same. And in my area, I'm encouraging the women also, because women's in farmer family, women's is doing half work in the farm field. So I'm getting the group in the women's, and I'm encouraging the women's also to do the good farming. So after the good agriculture practices, I'm giving them. Then they are totally now know, and they are very small holder. Since 1 acre in India, there is we cannot get long plots. So here is a very small farmer in India. So if I will give them the 1 acres, I will give them for input for 1 acre and all things. So they are now encouraging the doing the farming. Otherwise, in the India, there is a lot of traditional farming is there. So if this all changes is occurring, the 100% youth, young people will coming in the farming, and if they will get a good enough money, they are telling to everybody in a group. So particularly in my area, there is lot of people, young people is now entering in the farm. So after this all work means before 2011 they are getting only 5 to 7 ton per acre yield. Now they are getting 40 ton. This randomly changes is occurring in only 2 or 3 years. Why? Because young people is already ready to do the work, but they should know how to do, when to give the all outputs and all things. So after giving the good agriculture practices, they now decreasing the costing of farming, and now they are getting a good. Means this two to 3 point is very important in the farming. In India, there is not long land. You cannot get 100 acre, 200 acre in all area. So here is only a small part of land you can get to cultivation. So this is very important in my area. There are very small people, they are very poor people. They don't know how to do the all work. We have to give the good agriculture practices. This all I am giving to sometime Unilever people, some Bayer people, lot of people which are joined with me. So it's a 2-3 company. We are giving the good practices to the farmers. And
Yeah,
no middleman.
it sounds like the main takeaway there.
One point is remaining. When before coming my plant, my company, there is the farmer who are giving the all product to the directly market, and there is a middleman commissioning. So they are taking the commission from the the farmers 7%. So this is a huge loss of farmers, and they are playing with farmers. Sometimes the rate is crashed near about 1 rupees. Now there is a fixed rate, so there is no rate loss and no middleman. They are saving the transportation, middleman expenses, so they are getting a good money. This is, and by this all protocol, young people is attracted in the farming.
Yeah, it sounds like young people definitely have the work ethic and skills to be farmers. I think her main takeaway there was trust the technology and believe in the new techniques that are coming out. Maybe go to KisanHub now and get their take.
Yeah, they are really interested to doing the all things. Now I am this year I'm doing some different type of means of farming. It's a when if you will go through the technical farming, or we will go for a different type of living the traditional, we are being a mechanism more. So the youth is interested in that, because now day by day labor is getting less. So youth, all farmers is interested from my area, from my India country, is interested in a mechanical farming. So if we will give them the
Manisha, we're running out of time, so I'm going to have to cut you off and kick it to KisanHub and the rest of the panel here. But thank you.
Yeah, so quickly, John, I think agriculture, I think everybody agrees, it's one of the most rewarding industries and things you can get involved with. Seeing the inputs and the hard work you put in at the beginning of the year, and then seeing the outputs and being able to harvest those is so rewarding. So to any young person trying to get into farming, I say, think of that, and also at a wider sense and a world sense, everybody in the world has to eat, so you're really impacting people's livelihoods. So I encourage everybody out there to give agriculture a real thought.
And Sachin, Lucas, either of you have anything?
I think I don't have much to add. What Giles said, basically I agree fully. It's a very rewarding industry, and people should get into it. Of course, it's a hard work, but it's very satisfying.
Great, and maybe we'll wrap up with Lucas or Blessing here. Go ahead, either of you two.
I can only echo what is being said. I think it's the most beautiful. Wow, there's a big echo on the line now. So I can only echo what is being said. It's the most beautiful profession. It's part of the future. We should realize more that being a farmer means feeding people. Food is life. So what is more beautiful than that? Including managing a piece of land in a sustainable way. That is, I think, people should be proud of that.
Yeah, really well said. Blessing, if you can hear us, a last contribution from you, and then we'll wrap up. Last contribution. What would your advice to young farmers like?
Okay. Hello?
What would your advice to young farmers like?
Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with what everybody has said. Being a farmer is something we all should be proud of. We're solving a very important problem, food insecurity. So I would encourage the social entrepreneur who wants to go into farming to stick to their dreams and remain strong with their dreams, and never forget that it's going to be a tough ride. So they must pay attention to the realities and keep on testing new things, seeing what fails, learn the lessons, and move forward. So remain perseverant, remain strong, and remain persistent.
Yeah, thank you. That pretty much brings us to the end now. Unilever, they're searching for innovative solutions to some of the world's biggest sustainability challenges. So if you're making farming sexy, we talked a lot about that. If you're trying to bring technology into the agriculture sector, if you're working on anything else, climate change issues, water, nutrition, even more equitable workplaces, Unilever, Cambridge, and Ashoka want to hear your idea. So enter them in the Unilever Sustainable Living Young Entrepreneurs Awards Challenge. You can submit those ideas today and I guess through August 1st, 2014. Just visit changemakers.com/SUSTLiving2014. Again, changemakers.com/SUSTLiving2014, and enter those ideas today. I'd like to just say thanks so much to our panel, Lucas Simmons, Manisha Dhatrak, blessing Mene Oritz, as well as Sachin Shende and Giles Barker from KisanHub in the UK. So thanks so much. Hopefully connect with them on Twitter or Facebook. And I guess we'll hopefully talk to you guys soon. So thanks so much again, and have a good day and have a good weekend.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.